5 things I would tell young DM wisdom. Number 1, use what you have. 2, modules are more like guidelines. 3, failing is good. 4, play with your people. And 5, play solo RPGs.
Hey there, it's DM's Off. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you know when we upload new videos.
Alright, number 1, use what you have. Don't worry about having all the right miniatures, all the terrain, and the right role-playing game system. Just don't forget about it. Throw it out. Just start playing. Use whatever you have. Some of the funnest games I've ever played were completely impromptu. No fully fleshed out rules. We just played. I remember on the whim playing with just one other player, and we wanted to play in a 1970s era America. I gave the guy one weapon and a Ford Bronco. We played on the West Coast in California, and I think it was either Jimi Hendrix or Led Zeppelin were coming into town. They had to score some weed, get a 12-pack of beer, and get some bootleg tickets. It was awesome. We used a D20 like in Dungeons & Dragons. A 10 or above, you succeeded. Below, you didn't. And we went and we played. It was then that I figured out that story was more important than rules. Number 2, modules are more like guidelines. We've come a long way in adventure and module design. The old school Renaissance has everyone beat in regards to this. Most adventures just give you what you need and you're off and running. Old 2nd edition modules and even all the way up to 5th edition modules are packed full of verbiage that you quite frankly don't need. It's just fluff and it's going to confuse you. So my advice is to make little bullet points of what you need to do, what the next act is going to have entailed, and just go with your gut. What's the main overarching thing? And go for it. You may be someone that can get all the little nuances. I'm kind of not like that at all. But even with that, it probably won't be perfect. Because for the most part, most adventures that are written have a certain page quota that they need to fill so that it feels like the consumer is getting something that's worth 30 or 40 or 50 bucks. A lot of it is unnecessary most of the time. Number 3, failing is good. This is precisely how you learn as a dungeon master. Here's some of the best advice that I've ever had. If you're not learning, you're not leading, which is why you have a subscription to Agranak Studios. If you want to be a good dungeon master, just learn the basics. If you want to be a great dungeon master, then keep on learning. Number 4, play with your people. In this age of tolerance and acceptance, we have convinced ourselves that we have to play with every motherfucker that comes across our table. Guess what? You don't. Find your people with like-mindedness and play with them. Do you want to know why we have safe words and X cards? It's because you're not playing with your people. It's fine if we're playing at a convention or at a table that has never played with each other, or you're just not friends. Fine, have your X card that you can slap if somebody mentions something that you don't like. If you can't find your people locally, find them online. When I was growing up, the people that I hung out with were the fringe kids, the metalheads, the stoners, and the role players. Where I was from, none of them were nerds. In fact, everybody thought we were Satanists. So maybe it was easy for me to find my people. All of those people and I had something in common, and that was a love for brutality, for metal, for fantastical things, and slaying dragons.
Epic.
Never tolerate the people you can't stand. Just fuck off from the group and make a new one. Number 5, play solo RPGs. Look, you don't have to do this exclusively, but this is a wonderful teaching tool for dungeon masters. Solo RPGs helps a dungeon master develop their own sense of being able to improv and create things as the story develops. And you don't have to worry about messing it up in front of a bunch of friends. Think of solo RPGs as a tool to help you develop your craft. Because of solo RPGs, I now use oracles within my regular game. It keeps things interesting for me as a dungeon master when they're not all planned out and both the players and I are actually discovering these things together. It's pretty cool. Some people are going to look at number 4 and say, I don't have my people. Guess what? You are your people. And you can play with yourself. Fucking gross. Not like that. Of course, playing with a group is the best if you can find the right group. But sometimes it's the worst if you've got a bad group. You can always have a good time and go in the direction that you want to go playing a solo RPG because you're creating it. There are great solo RPGs out there. Mythic, they just came out with the second edition this year. Ironsworn, a wonderful system. And someone has even developed a solo RPG version for Mjorkborg. All of the links are down in the dungeon. Alright, that's the 5 things that I would tell young DM wisdom. Thanks for stopping by Agranak Studios, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers!
This video is brought to you by the generous support of our patrons. Consider becoming a patron. There's a link down in the dungeon. Down there. Also, we have links to other places that Agranak Studios is at.
Alright, do this and do that and do this and do that. And watch this video.